Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this City Council meeting to order. Up first is the invocation with Pastor Stevens from First Village Baptist Church.
Lord, we just want to take a minute and stop and thank you and pause for all that you do for us, not only for this city, but for our nation. And Lord, there's a lot of turmoil around. And Lord, we thank you that there's peace here. We thank you for all the ones that work here. Lord, we thank you for it's a great place to raise our children, for these youth that be involved, Lord. And we just want to give you the praise and honor that you deserve for making this creation so beautiful and allowing us to be a part of it. Lord, I just pray that you give us wisdom and guidance in all that we do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, Councilwoman Amer with the pledge.
Yes. Please join me with your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, as always, Pastor Steve. All right, at this time, I will accept a motion for the agenda approval.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second. Seeing no further discussion, calling the vote. All right, ayes have it. All right, 1A is our Flood Awareness Week, so I will step to the front.
Man, they should have you read this. You got such a better voice. So, welcome to March, everyone. We're so excited you guys have been here to join us. So, this is the City of Destin Proclamation Flood Awareness Week. Whereas the City of Destin has experienced severe weather in the past in the form of extreme rainfall or tropical system events, resulting in flooding, and this flooding has caused damage and flooding losses to homes and buildings in all areas, whether they are at high risk special flood hazards or in low to moderate risk flood zones. Whereas the City of Destin is a volunteer participant in the National Flood Insurance Program that provides residents with the opportunity to protect themselves against flood loss through the purchase of flood insurance at a reduced insurance premium, as well as the setting high regulatory standards to reduce the flood risk and potential flood damage to their properties. And whereas the reduction of loss of life and property damage can be achieved when appropriately preparing flood control and mitigation measures are taken before a flood, and whereas public education and awareness of potential hazards and methods of protection are critical to the health, safety, and welfare of our residents. The Florida Floodplain Management Association, FFMA, has declared the week of March 4th, 2024, as Flood Awareness Week to promote awareness and increase knowledge of flood risk. The ability of flood insurance, flood protection methods, and how preparations are engaged. Now, whereas, be it resolved that the Council of the City of Destin, Florida, do hereby proclaim the week of March 4th, 2024, typo, Ray, as Flood Awareness, Week in the City of Destin, and further announce the citizens of Destin, I'm so sorry, to increase their knowledge of how to protect themselves and their property from flooding. So done this 4th day of March 2024 by me. You have a word.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for this. Like he said, this week is National Flood Awareness Week. And you'll be, if you stay tuned to the City of Destin's website, we'll have flood information for you each day of this week, to include natural and beneficial functions of floodplains, all about flood insurance, protecting your home. And while I'm got the microphone, I will say that if you are interested in having your home kind of examined, inspected to see where you have opportunities to alleviate or mitigate flood hazards, just give us a call at 850-837-6869. Or you can just email the city's Public Works Department.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And just, we gave him a thanks during the visioning session, but after those storms come through, lighter are strong. Michael and his team are the ones out there clearing the streets and making it safe, along with all the other first responders and code departments. So thank you again.
right, 1B from our neighbors on the other side. You want to announce it first? Oh, yes, sorry. We did have one change in the agenda for 4E. 4E, the Dolphin Point. We can still have public comments on it, of course. They pulled it. The ambassador of it had a pull for some family emergencies, and so we'll be hearing that at a later date. However, if anyone's here on that topic, by all means, 3 minutes is yours when we get to the public comments. So just want to let everyone know on that. Thank you, Kim. All right, Jennifer. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. Jennifer Adams with Okaloosa County Tourist Development Department. Today, I'm just going to give you a brief tourism update of some of the activity in 2023 and our direction for 2024. Huh? That's fine.
He was playing great music before, though.
Great ceremony the other day, by the way. Fantastic. It was very nice to be part of that. Yes. Yes.
So Jennifer, while we're getting our stuff together here, do you want questions during or just at the end?
Whenever you want.
Okay, because I'm going to ask you a question that we discussed at the strategic planning session about the number of condos in Destin, not in the old district or the sub-district and not in the new district, just physically in Destin. And you probably don't know, but I'm seeing the same number that I saw before from y'all. And we think we have 7,300 just in the city limits of this town.
So was that something that we can talk with Josh Allen about offline, and we can and talk to him, because he gives me that information, but I'd be more than happy to talk about it, because I would want it to be as accurate. Again, the beauty is we didn't have this information a year ago, you know, and now we have it, so we should manage it to the best of our.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to answer it tonight. I just, if you can have somebody send us within the city limits of Destin, not in the unincorporated area, not on the island, just here.
Condos only.
Condos
Okay.
only.
Okay, all right. All right, let me try again. So I'm going to give a quick update on 2023 and some directions that we're going in 2024. First, I want to say, we're comparing everything to 2019 at this point, because through the pandemic, it's really difficult. So I went back to a base year. So what I'm going to present is the growth from 2019 and 2023, because we leveled back out in 2023. Here are the number of visitors. You can see it's flat from 22 to 2023, but it's a 6.5% growth from 2019. So that's steady and a good pace. We want fewer people spending more money, and you can see here in 2023, the direct spend was $734 million to the economy. That's above and beyond the tourist development tax. Normally, DMOs don't really track visitor spend, and this is probably even low because this is through Visa View data. And with, it's harder to track spend when people are using Venmo and all these other things that we're just not getting the data on. Here's your countywide breakdown. So we have about 15,500 units. It's a 6% growth from a year ago, but Mr. Bagby, I'll be sure to get you some more information and open up a discussion with Josh. You all know that there's a real-time report on the Okaloosa Clerk page that you can go. It's the Tourist Development Tax real-time, and you can click it, and you got to scroll through a couple pages, and he's working on the breakdown and updating that system, and that's where I get my dollars from. All right, so this is average daily rate, and if you look at this chart, look at the blue arrow, and you can see the comparison of 2019 and 2023. Really, across the board, it's about 31% growth there, but on average, on the entire month, we were average daily rate was up 31% and 6% on the end with not a big drop. Same thing with occupancy here. You can see that we're still holding our own, and on average, we have about a 12% increase. But here's the big thing in the room. With the 6 penny and the expansion of the taxing district, we collected almost $43 million last year. It's a lot of money. The 6th penny is separate. It's used for capital projects and maybe a little bit of public safety. So I try to operate on my 5 pennies, which is about $31 million. We're probably going to be doing some budget scenarios that are flat for this year because I'm waiting till we even out. We will even out the 6 pennies. The northern end will collect the 6 pennies starting March of 2025. But what are we doing with these dollars? Well, we're reinvesting them. So if you look at this chart, 63% of this is a budget breakdown in percentage, 63% of the budget is going back into the community. We're buying land, we're buying fairgrounds, we're cleaning parks and beaches, and we're really focusing on those things that also help local residents, and we'll continue to do that. Now, for me, the 2 most important are the municipalities. So right off the bat, we take 12.5% off of the 31 million, okay, right off the bat, and this is the formula that you all agreed upon. So you can see, we're actually meeting next week with the municipalities. We have a meeting with Destin on Wednesday. This is your money to work with us on. I got to say, I was skeptical at first. I didn't know how it would work. I really enjoyed this process because we get to talk about projects and issues that not only benefit municipalities, but those of us who live here and those of us who visit. This one pains me a little bit because this is 10% of the budget. This is the public safety. It's about 3.1 million. We have a public safety meeting on Monday. We all get in a room, Jason can attest to this, and we say this is the dollar amount based on the statute. How are we going to divide it up? Some years the sheriff needs a little bit more. Some years, public safety needs a little bit more. But it's been a very good process. You'll hear me say it, it's not enough. I understand that, but that's Bay, Walton, and Okaloosa County are the only counties that are allowed to fall under this provision. We'll continue with the beach safety. If you recall, we started this together 2 years ago. This starts March 13th, so anybody who hears about it, you can text beach to 44144. We sent over 1.25 million texts last year. We'll continue to reinvest that. I consider this part of public safety, and we have, to the best of our ability, a uniform flag system, and that's the key to all of this. Coastal resources, I'm the only DMO that I know of that has a coastal resources team. I'm really proud of that because when we have an issue, we don't have to wait for a consultant. We don't have to wait. We can get right out of the water and we can identify the issue and make a difference. Here are just some of the things they do. We continue to invest in our artificial reef program where we have multiple projects with sand. We do water quality testing. And most importantly and most fun, with our lionfish program, we carry those critters all over the world. They were in Toronto last week. They've been in New York, they've been in Detroit, they're going to Dallas, and so we're able to showcase and have our team be out there as experts talking about more than what a consultant might talk about. The convention center, there's been people that said the convention center really has no value. We did an economic impact study, and that's not true. The economic impact study showed that $4.6 million of annual direct spending go back into the community, aside from jobs, aside from year-round employment and business. We're growing the group business in the convention center and beyond. Last year in 2023, after being shut down for an entire year, our revenues were 95% of what they were in 2019, and we hope to exceed that this year. But we're not just selling the convention center. Many of our partners have meeting space, and you can see here that when the leads come in, we are sending them to all of our partners. I'll tell you this fun fact, from 2019 to 2023, the sales team increased their leads to partners by 27% with a booking increase of 200%. So it's not just the convention center, it's the other places within the destination that we're putting and growing group business. We are the proud owners of a fairgrounds, and we will sell the fairgrounds to the best of our ability as an extension of the convention center. The Fairgrounds Committee will present a plan to the Board of County Commissioners on March 12th, and my sales team will be working to sell that space, enhance that space, and sell that space. And of course, sports. Ron's been on board for just shy of 2 years. We did a stakeholder analysis last year. We are working with a consultant and putting together a plan. I spoke to Lisa last week. We will be inviting all of the municipalities and anybody who has an interest in sports to come to a workshop that we'll be having right after spring break, and we will be putting together a 3 to 5 year plan with existing properties and the needs that we have currently, also with future properties and future needs. What can we go after, and how can we make this a year-round push? Okay, so the strategic marketing plan. This is my mission. Mission doesn't change. Make time spent here, whether visiting, working, or living here, more valuable to all. It's not going to change. There's no reason to change it. And this is our promise. We get kids outside on the water to give their adventure side room to grow. This is evolving. This is the picture that we took with this mission state, this brand promise 5-6 years ago. Now they can be on a sailboat in the bay. Now they can be in a kayak up the river system, still on the water, getting them outside, away from their devices, and back to a place where they can be confident again. These are our families. They're moms, millennial moms. A couple years ago, we honed in that 3 to 10 range. Well, now that 10-year-old's 14. And they have a whole nother set of challenges coming out of COVID. So we're taking the little adventure message and we're elevating it. You'll see in some of our new creative, guess what? We're not on the beach building sandcastles. They're on sailboats, learning how to sail. And they're doing it in a manner that helps them with their confidence and helps them achieve something. But here's the problem. We looked at trends, okay? We have problems here. It's an election year. We all know that there's a lot of noise out there. High energy costs and cost of living is extremely important. And then last year we got a little bit of zapped with weather. When our neighbors had multiple drownings, we took the hit as well. So people are constantly calling and asking us about these, and we know that there's more than these 3, but this is what we honed in on. But travel is right. People are going to travel. Super competitive. You could get your family of 5 on a cruise for 7 nights for less than half the cost of coming to us, and we're very aware of that. So we need to make the experience better. And I don't subscribe to this, but a lot of people let their kids help make the travel decision. All right, and that's important to some of our millennial moms. So we will help give them the tools, not only for them, but for their kids to help make the decision. This is interesting, but the decision-making process, we sort of missed the boat on this. We've always been out there when they're getting ready to book. Well, we missed that planning and inspiration phase. This is the planning and inspiration phase, and guess what? During that phase, consumers visit on average, 38 websites. 38 websites on their tablet, on their phone, and on their desktop. And we all know once you visit one, you get served 3, right? So you're constantly looking at it. But we weren't in this space, so we had to make some decisions. So with our paid media, we said, okay, we need to create interest in October, November, December, while they're starting to look, while they're being inspired, and then hit them again hard when they're ready to book January, February, March. So what did we do? Well, hello, Google. Everybody's in Google. Google's in this space. Google will lead to other things. We doubled the quantity of the money that we invested in Google, and we started it in November. This, in October of 2024, we'll get out there sooner. Since we started this program, November 5th, we've had an increase of 873% visits to the site through end of February. So we missed it. But we're going to get back out there. Now, we recognize that we need to be there. We also need to be in OTAs, Expedia, TripAdvisor, because they're using those to plan. They're part of the 38. I mean, I'm pathetic. I use my American Airlines app to plan my stuff. But, you know, that 38 sites, we need to have the presence there. Okay, here are our core markets. A lot of them are the same, but we also made some decisions here. We will not do broadcast in Dallas or DC. It's too expensive. We have a great presence in DC, but with the election, the cost for media is through the roof, so we added Nashville and Orlando. Think about Orlando, okay? We go to Orlando, our visitors go to Orlando, Central Floridians travel from Orlando to us, and international visitors go to Orlando. Our message will be out there. I don't know if any of you saw it, but we have a great media buyer, and we had presence in Orlando market during the Super Bowl. It's all over. People were texting us, and oh, was that really Destin? Yes, that was Destin. And we found through research last year that 17% of Central Floridians are coming to Destin Fort Walton Beach, a market that we had no presence in before then. These are our media outlets through digital. Streaming is super important, and through broadcast, and we just started our third year, I think, with our partnership with the Atlanta Braves and their spring training program. Okay, so if we were going to get back into that planning and inspiration space, we needed to update Destin Fort Walton Beach. You can take your phone out right now if you want to and scan this QR code, and you'll go to our mobile site, which we spent a lot of time on because moms are on mobile, and then they'll put that down. They may be in here, but primarily we did not have good presence in the mobile space. The updates are to the home page, to the Little Adventures page, to the Explore page, and to the Plan Your Trip page. So those are key pages while they're in the inspiration and planning. And then we bring them back and get them to our partner sites so they can book. Destination stewardship, we will continue on with this program. We created this chart years ago when we started our destination stewardship. It doesn't change. We identified a problem, we implement the innovation, find out what we need to move that needle, we develop core ideas, and then we execute. And then the second year problem is erased and it's opportunity. And that's what we've done the last couple of years with the Destination Stewardship Program. You can see as a scout, we've created new products. We went from 10 packs to 30 little adventure packs. We went from 5 scouts to 50. We work with 40 small businesses, which is a direct impact to the economy. We're paying them to create these experiences. Here are the classes. We've gone from 4 classes the first year to 8. We have 10 local businesses that teach these classes. We do so within 12 destinations throughout the destinations, north and south. We'll be putting the stationary outpost back at Crystal Beach soon, and we have the 2 trailers and the Sprinter van. So last year we did 500 classes. Our goal this summer is 700 classes. We interacted with about 2,500 kids, and we hope to get closer to 3,500 next year. So we're really proud of this program. This program, I will say, is getting national recognition. So when we are on the road, we are speaking about this, and people say, how can you take tourist development tax dollars and put them back into the economy? You got to really work hard, you make them pilot programs, and you get everybody on board. So that money is going into the economy, not into an advertising campaign. These are our scouts. I will say that we have about 40 beach scouts. They're roaming on the beaches, talking with people, signing the kids up for classes, and 10 online scouts. Those are real moms. They're not robots. It's not AI. It's not canned content. They are there to help, and it's very successful. My last thing is I'd like to say the Board of County Commissioners last month unanimously voted on our 3rd pilot program, which is real time. It's designed to elevate the fishing fleet and connect primarily the teenager with deep sea fishing. We met with the charter captains a couple of weeks ago. We're developing the program together, but we're really excited. And if I can fly this flag on every vessel this summer, I will. We put the scouts and the captains together so they can start to talk. The scouts can understand their story and start to promote this. And next spring, we'll be doing a real-time virtual fishing tournament. So those are some of the highlights, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Councilwoman Neighbor?
Hey, thanks, Jennifer, for being here. You know, being on the TDC, I've watched a lot of this come to fruition over the last 4 years, and it's been pretty exciting. I do want, just for those online that are listening, when you go into the Fort Walton Beach, destinfwb.com, and you click on, and then you hit Little Adventures, where does it get to the point where it tells that mom, we're covering the first half of this adventure. So how far do they have to go in to understand that they're getting like a very inexpensive adventure?
I have never told a consumer that. That's always on the back end to get the interest out there, to make that price point for the first-time adventure. And then we haven't had a problem with people rebooking. So I've never said that on the consumer level. It's always been something between the local business and the TDC.
Price they see is what they're paying. They don't realize it's half of what a normal booking would cost.
Right.
Got it.
Yep. And that really jump-started, added flexibility too. It created not the same old charter. It created the different, like you can take a 3, a 5, and a 7-year-old on a charter for X rather than 8 hours offshore for Y. So it gave our local businesses the flexibility to price it.
All right, Councilman Guile.
Yes, ma'am. I would just really encourage you to work very closely with Lewis and Kim next week or during your meeting before I speak. I have a lot that I was going to bring up today, but I'm going to curtail that until after your meeting with them, and I would encourage you to really dig in.
All right, Councilman Stevens.
Yes, I just got 2 questions. Going back to the public safety where it says 4.7, I mean, I understand like we're having more fees with possibly having to hire more lifeguards and stuff like that. How do we get that percent up to that 10% standard, or the 10% that was supposed to be going towards public safety?
It has to be changed, if I'm not mistaken, through the legislative process. That is language that is written into statute 1250104. Now, I will say, last year, we, through session, there was a population cap that we were able to raise. Am I speaking right? We were to the. Yeah.
But I'll wait till my question is 225,000 and we're at 215 probably.
Right, but I think it's going up to, isn't it go to, we made some progress last year, and they're still rallying to be sure that we stay under this provision. But the language for 10% was adopted in 2017, I believe it was. So it's back, it's actually word for word in the statute.
Okay. And then my second quick question. So in the Gulf, I see how we have a lot of artificial reefs. How do we get some artificial reefs into our bay?
There are a few, and I will follow up with you. There are a few that are going to be going into the bay. They're part of the, I think we're 3 years into the 5-year plan. So I will make a note, and I will get back to you and let you know. Well, I'll have Alex get back to you. They will be in the bay.
Councilman Bagby?
Yeah, I was in a previous year, so I will pull up 1250104 to see what 23 says. But my 2 quick questions. So we're 4 months into this fiscal year, right?
Yep, 5.
Because for y'all, well, we're 5 in, but you've only reported for 4, right?
Right,
In
correct, right.
So that's a third of the way. I might know what I'm talking about, Ken. Okay. He's trying to help you out back there. So where are we? 20, because the numbers you gave us were last year's numbers. So where are we the first 4 months, a third of the way through the year, percentage-wise over 2019 or over last year?
Over last year, we're basically flat.
Okay.
We're flat through, it's March now, through the last numbers, which were January.
January.
So, which is why we'll be extremely conservative going into this year. I think I think there are a lot of factors that are out there, being, several factors, but we're flat. We're not down, we're flat.
Okay. Because I'm hearing the same thing from bed tax
Yes.
collectors is, we were the only game in town for a couple of years, and now we're not.
Right.
And it's either ticking a little bit down or a little bit up, but it's pretty flat for the last year and a half. And so,
Which is why we switched into that inspiration stage, and they'll start booking now, so we'll see through our research the pre-bookings to see if that's up in the next what, 60 days, Ken? Yeah, 60 days, so we'll look at that. And then some of those new markets too, to see if we can move the needle in those markets.
Okay. So, and then I'll look up, because you're probably got more questions to answer. But just so you understand the statute, it's not to exceed. There is no right to 10%. It's not to exceed 10%. And there were three, if I can pull up last year's version, 3 municipalities incorporated, no more than 225,000 people in the county, and you have to have revenue of at least 10 million. So
Oh,
that,
it's 275 now,
right.
just
It's
for the,
275, okay.
yeah.
Yep.
all right. So,
So
Yeah.
essentially, it's Bay, Walton, and Okaloosa counties. Right, is
Yeah.
how it was written.
but it's, everybody thinks you have to put 10%. It's kind of like people used to think, oh, well, we have to put 40% in marketing. No, that's not what the statute ever said. And it doesn't have to be 10%. If they vote on 5%, that's what we get, so.
But I do. I take the 10% and the 12.5% right off the bat before I do anything with budgeting. And, you know, I mean, clearly it's not enough.
And one last question. How much is in the Beach Penny reserves for renourishment? Any idea?
I'm going to give you a ballpark because roughly between, I think it's about 18 million.
Okay,
Still not enough. We're still dedicated to putting money in there each year. We put as much in as we possibly can. We also established last year a public safety reserve. So should there be a storm and people are coming here, and even though we're not collecting, we still have enough for public safety.
okay.
So we continue to grow. I think when I first started in 2017, there was maybe 10 million, I think. So we're building that back up.
Okay.
About 17.
All right, thanks.
Councilman Schmidt.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Jennifer. I enjoy the annual visit on this update. Just a few comments, questions. The public safety thing, Mr. Stevens, Mr. Bagby, the 4.7 is the full 10%? Is that what you were saying?
That's 10%
Right,
of the
47
5 pennies, not 40,
Right.
30, somewhere around 31, somewhere around there.
So when
So
we say up to 10%, y'all use the 10%.
of 5 pennies, right.
So what is the county doing, you know, something different, unique to find money elsewhere to use for public safety? Like, for example, the school district, or the whole county, we voted on the sales tax, the half-penny sales tax. And, well, I didn't vote for that, but some people are saying that they take the money and they can do other stuff with it. So like, we're building schools or doing new things, and that frees up our general fund. Does the county like have the same mindset where we could use general fund money because we have the bed tax money? We could maybe find some other monies to help public safety?
I
Never-
haven't had any discussion like that,
Be curious.
Mr. Schmidt, but that's something that we would talk to Director Maddox about. He's very resourceful, but all I know for me, for my dollars, is that 10%.
Right, okay.
And again, it's been a good process. We all decide how to use that 10%. There's
Right.
no, oh, I need to take this amount and da-da-da.
Right. Well, my concern is every year we always talk about how it's not enough, and I think
Yeah.
you said that too. So I just hope that the county can find a way to, there's a lot of money out there. The county gets a lot of money. So hopefully they can find ways to maybe increase public safety spend, because you guys are growing, you do an amazing marketing campaign. I saw you're like in London or somewhere in the UK recently. I mean, you're growing, you're pushing, you're, you know, better quality, spend more money, less people. But what's missing from when I talk to people around here, the local people that live here, you funnel them here, but we can't support it sometimes, right? The county puts more hotels and motels in unincorporated parts in Destin or other places around the county. Get them here, get them here, get them here. Target them, but then how are we supporting that, right? And, you know, finding money for public safety would be amazing. Only other thing I'll add is, yes, the partnership with the city, hopefully with interim manager here and Kim, y'all can communicate and talk. I know it seems like in the past few years, there's a lack of
connection going on, and we always react to a lot of things that come up. So I'm looking forward to the partnership that's going to be rekindled and formed here with our staff.
I think
So
we have a plan, so.
I've heard a little bit about it, and I look forward to it. So
Yep.
thank you again
Yeah.
for being here.
Lewis said he was going to go on a date with ice cream at the park or something. So I got no one else here, so just my last thing is thank you so much. We really appreciate your time, that dedication, the knowledge you put behind it, the stats. Thank you so much for being a part of the community and helping us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it, everyone.
All right, with that, moving right along to 1C, the Destin Little League presentation.
See if I can figure this out.
So he'll have to throw it over real quick and then. Is tonight the first night of games?
It is.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm sorry
It
you have
is.
to be here.
Oh, no, that's okay. My kids' first games are tomorrow and then
Oh,
Wednesday.
perfect.
Yes. I think that's how I got here. Yeah. All right. Well, good evening. Ladies and gentlemen of the Destin City Council and esteemed members of the community, thank you for granting me the opportunity to address you today on behalf of the Destin Little League. My name is Betsy Smith, and I stand before you as a proud member of the Destin Little League, an organization deeply woven into the fabric of our community for the past 45 years. The Destin Little League, a 501c3 organization, has been a testament to the power of volunteerism, with dedicated individuals shaping the lives of our youth through the joy of baseball. Our relationship with the City of Destin has been a long-standing one, solidified by a lease that allows Destin Little League to utilize the iconic Dalton Threadgill Park located at 711 Hickory Street, as well as Morgan Sports Complex. We are immensely grateful for the partnership we have shared with the city over the years. In the spirit of collaboration, the city and Destin Little League have successfully undertaken significant projects together, marking milestones in the development of Threadgill Park. Projects such as the installation of new batting cages have transformed the park, creating a space where our youth can learn, grow, and foster a love for the game. This collaboration is a testament to the dedication both organizations have shown towards creating a vibrant and nurturing environment for our community. This year, we are pleased to highlight the collaborative efforts that have taken place. The city has been instrumental in the installation of new hand dryers, painting all the foul poles, and supporting field preparation. Furthermore, the city generously donated a John Deere Gator that was soon to be recycled to replace our aging tractor, a gesture that speaks volumes about the commitment to the well-being of our Little League and its players. Simultaneously, in preparation for the upcoming season, Destin Little League has invested significant resources in enhancing the city's the facilities. Buildings have been painted, bathrooms now boast new epoxy flooring, and the concession stand is equipped with new ice machines and coolers, and the entire park has undergone a thorough pressure washing. The transformation is pretty significant. New bathroom floors. The park is nice and clean. It is pressure washed like I have never seen it. And the buildings have now been nicely repainted. Our collective efforts have resulted in a park that is not only functional, but also aesthetically pleasing for all who visit. Tonight, I stand before you with two requests on behalf of Destin Little League. We understand that part of the city's vision is to create a comprehensive park plan for Threadgill Park. Destin Little League is ready and eager to contribute a substantial amount of funding towards this vision, one that aims to elevate our park to new heights. It's an endeavor that has not been undertaken, most likely since it was built, and we believe that with the city's support, we can make it a reality. We respectfully request that the City Council allows us the opportunity to collaborate with the city staff in planning for a large-scale upgrade at Threadgill Park. This includes a comprehensive update to the existing lease agreement for better reflection of maintenance responsibilities and shared park usage, reflecting the shared commitment to the continuous improvement of our beloved park. In conclusion, as representatives of the Destin Little League, we express our gratitude for the historic partnership we have shared with the city. Together, we have created a space where dreams are nurtured and future generations can flourish. Let us continue this journey of collaboration as we work towards a brighter future for Threadgill Park and the entire Destin community. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
All right, thank you. If you would hold for a minute. Okay, Councilwoman Naber?
I would like to, can I make a motion or can I request, okay, I'd like to make a motion that the city manager and staff work with the Little League to incorporate and work together to get the lease renegotiated and continue this great tradition of working together. Is that word enough close to what she's asking?
Yes.
So that's my motion.
All right, got a motion? Second, okay. All right, and then anything further? No. All right, up next, Councilman Gao.
You all did a great job this weekend at the parade and I guess, orientation at the park. I got to attend. It was amazing. You guys did a wonderful job out there. I do have a question about something that you just said. You said that the Little League paid for the floors in the bathroom. Is that correct?
Through sponsorships, yes, that was paid for by Destin Little League.
Okay, because I was under the impression that was one of the contract issues we had with Royal Melbourne Park, that through Ninja Coatings doing illegal contracting on Royal Melbourne, so we traded off that bathroom. Was I misled in that?
No, that was for the bathrooms at Morgan's. And Ninja did do the bathroom floors at all 4 restrooms at Morgan Sports Complex.
Okay, well, I
Yes.
appreciate that.
Yes.
I just wanted clarification. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Councilman Bagby?
Yeah, a couple of things. So you have 2 asks. And here's, is there somebody that serves with Destin Little League that is on our Parks and Rec Committee?
That I don't know.
Louis, do you know?
No, not at this,
No,
that's on
this-
the board?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I'm more of a process guy. So the process is, we allocated in our budget for this year $200,000 for them to kind of come up with a plan. It's not just for Threadgill, it's also for Morgan Sports Park. And then the Parks and Recreation Committee, the staff, they'll kind of work, and it'll go back and forth. So, but eventually we'll have a request for proposal for, once they prioritize, you know, we want to replace turf here, we want to replace fence there. But this year is the year where we kind of get the idea, you know, on paper, and kind of get a plan for the next 5-10 years so that we can budget for all the improvements to all the parks that we want to do. So I don't know if anybody had, and I don't think I do, but I would find out if there's a vacancy on Parks and Rec, and I would go to that council member and say, will you please appoint me? Because if you really want, now the meetings are published and they're open, so you can show up and you can provide input to the committee and to the staff and everything. But if you have somebody on that committee, then you're going to have a seat at the table every time they meet, or have the option to have a seat at the table. Every time they meet, every time they bring up, okay, well, we're thinking we're going to spend $1.2 million next year, and then, you know, what are our priorities we're going to take to the council, and then we'll change them all. But, you know, at least you'll have a voice. So I would recommend that you get involved, or somebody from your organization get involved in that process, because that's where a lot of the nuts and bolts are done. We try not to do the nuts and bolts from up here. So if you get involved in that, then you'll see the sausage making from the very beginning. So that's on your first ask. On your second ask, is there like a specific section that you want, or you just want the contract, because we've got a couple more years? Is there something that's really sticking in y'all's craw that you want fixed in the contract today, or?
I don't have a specific line, but I know the maintenance responsibilities are very vague.
Okay.
And that's one of the biggest things, is to nail down who is responsible for what, and how the maintenance and everything is.
Okay,
It's
and
done
that
there.
contract would go through Parks and Rec before it came to us. So, it
That's
could,
not, that's not true, Mr. Bagby, so,
it should be.
well, that's your process, but that's not the process.
Well, that's how we get citizens' input, is through the committees. That's why we have committees.
So a couple of things, I've had a couple of conversations with representatives from the Little League. I know that, like she just indicated, that we are being asked to look at clarifying the maintenance responsibilities as between the Little League and the city. In addition to that, I think we are being asked to look at some of the scheduling for the year at the park. I believe right now the Little League gets about 6 months of usage under the lease, and we may talk about whether to expand that. But I would just suggest to you that if Lewis and I are able to enter into some negotiations with the Little League, it wouldn't be final anyway. We would take the lease back to the council. If we need to take it to parks, that's an option we can do, but ultimately it will come to council for a final decision. So anything that we decide tonight, as far as that initial authorization, won't be binding.
Yeah, because, and I know there's a couple of us up here who believe in the committees, because that's how we get citizen input, not just individual citizens kind of going VFR direct to us, but we get a breadth of input or opinions or whatever, and then it's usually a better product when it's gone through a committee, as opposed to the staff brought it to us and we made a decision, and then we figure out, oh, wait, consequences, you know, unforeseen consequences occurred, which could have been foreseen if we'd sent it to a committee. So, but that's kind of the, I don't know, and the staff or, Ray, do we have any vacancies open on Parks and Rec, do you know?
I believe we have one. I'm not sure who's appointing, but I have to
Okay.
check.
That Parks and Rec Committee is full at this time.
Oh, it's full at this time?
It
Okay.
is full at this
All
time.
right. You can still attend every one of the meetings? Okay.
All right, seeing no further discussions, we do have a motion on the table, so I will call the vote. All right, ayes have it.
Thank you.
All right, up next, consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
All
Second.
right, motion and a second. Seeing no discussion, calling the vote. All right. All right, so at this time, we will do public comments and input. I will start from my left side, work my way right. Anyone who would like to come up here, the button's already on, name and address, and the floor is yours. You're gonna hear a pro first.
Yeah, right. Brian Otto, 3826 Indian Trail. I was at home watching. Oh, sorry. I was at home watching, and I couldn't get past that the TDC. And this isn't to you guys. I just wanted to put it on the record. I heard mom like 28 times. And when did we say parents, and when did we say dad? Maybe we're missing something in the marketing. I know I got to run back home to take care of my kids. I know I'm the one that entertains them. I know when I'm talking to my colleagues around the country, because I work globally, it's parents coming down. So maybe we're missing something there. So I feel like coming up here, not to talk about all the crazy stuff that happens here, but just that. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you for being here. All right, anyone else kind of going? Yes, sir, in the back.
And thank you for watching at home.
Yeah, watching it and coming up here?
Here, is that a little better? Okay. Good evening, all of you. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address you this evening. I have something near and dear to my heart, and that's my property where I live and the ability to have it have an extra parking space whenever we get crowded. Yes, Gary Pavlo. I'm at number 522 Marina Point Road on Holiday Isle. Excuse me, a little bit nervous. You
Shake it
guys
out.
deal with this all the time, I know. So anyway, I wanted to take the moment to time to express that we have a problem that's come up, and this problem has been addressed many times in the past. I have served on numerous boards at Laguna Point, and this was addressed as far as the parking spaces were concerned. There are 8 parking spaces that are available for use by anyone as an excess parking space, and one of the other properties wishes to change that designation and do away with them. And I like to say that those parking spaces have been very, very helpful and are important, and I don't think that they represent a danger. I have 10 grandchildren, and I would not be placing them in danger because it would be allowing certain people that really shouldn't be there to be there, which is what I've been told has been the reason behind this being addressed again. But we did address this many times through the years, and it was adjudged that we had used this for 40 years in this capacity as excess parking for all the people in the area, and that there wasn't any need, in our opinion, to change it because it was fulfilling its need at the time. And we wanted to, let you know that as far as our concern is all the people at Laguna Point would like it to continue in that property use, and that we would have that opportunity to do so. And we are, understand that the use that is being put through right now is what it has been used for 40 years and creates a precedence of, you might say, use and ownership, or however you would wish the terminology there, and we'd like it for it to continue to be that way. So that's basically my point. There are a number of points, but thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. All right, anyone else from the left wing? All right, seeing none? Yep. Yes, sir. Name and address.
Makes it easier. My name is Ben Wesley. My address is actually in Pensacola, 1131 Green Hills Road in Cantonment, actually. I'm the market president for premium parking. Good evening to everyone, the council persons, mayor. I operate parking from Bay St. Louis, Mississippi to Mobile to Pensacola. Here in Destin, we have 2 locations. We're adding a third really shortly, actually. I have quite a few. We're starting. We have some in Sandestin and also out in Panama City, which is a new market for me. So I have over 80 locations, but I love Destin the most. I'm a water guy. Love it here. So I say that to say that Destin Fishing Fleet is on our list of accounts, Heron Harbor, and we're your neighbors. Although I live in Cantonment, as premium parking, we are your neighbors, and we have a motto of embrace the place. And so I'll get to that a little bit more in a second. Recently, last season, we responded to some requests from the mayor and the code compliance officer to improve some of our operations, and we did. We're excited about, listening and adapting to what the needs are of the community. So recently, we were very excited about the RFP that came out. I personally responded to it. As a parking operator, we're also a technology company, so we have like a large toolbox of products that we could offer the city, and I believe we checked all the boxes. But we're also a customer service company, and I take that to heart. And it's not easy to pick an operator, and your selection committee did a good job. And I don't think we responded as well as we could have. We read it to be like 2-page narrative. I noticed some of the other respondents had, a couple dozen pages, and I think we could have told a better story. But I think they did a great job. I will say that when the public was invited to the bid opening, there were 9 respondents. I was the only one there. When there was a parking selection committee number 1 with 9 respondents, I was the only one there. And the selection committee number 2, I was the only one there. So I care. I do want to work with the city. Whatever you decide today won't matter to me as much as just working with you, continuing what we're doing out there in the community, and hopefully we get a chance to work together. Again, just excited to have a chance to introduce myself today, and hopefully if you have any parking needs in the city, you can reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, anyone back, middle, side? All right, we'll close the public comments at this time.
And move along to 4A, Destin Youth, oh, sorry, Louis, that's yours.
No, that's
Doing your
okay.
job.
It's all right. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. According to the Destin Youth Council bylaws, the Chair of the Youth Council is required to provide the City Council with a yearly report. That effort is coordinated with the City Clerk's office, and he's here to kind of outline the details for you.
Mayor and Council, good evening. If I may, I would like to introduce the 10 members of the Youth Council you appointed in November. Some of them are here tonight, some are unable to make it due to various school functions. And if you're here, if you would stand up to be recognized. Palmer Lindsley is a junior of Old Walson Beach High School. Stella Scoma, freshman, Destin High School. Palmer Robin, sophomore, Destin High School. Gabriela Castaneda, a senior at Destin High School. Charlie Frankfurt, sophomore, Destin High School. Jared Cutts, senior, Destin High School. Kaylin Curley, sophomore, Collegiate High School at Northwest Florida State College in Niceville. Caroline Pitchlin, senior, Destin High School. Sophie Corey is the vice chair of the council, junior at Destin High School. And Brian Ramswell, the chair of the council, senior, Destin High School. They were appointed in November, which is about 3 months later than the usual, because at that time we didn't have enough applicants. Not until after our active mayor and public information director visited the schools and talked to the students, and before you know it, we had 24 applications. They meet again later on this month to discuss their other initiatives, but for now, they would like to embark on a couple of them. Those are outlined in your staff report, but I'd like to call upon the chair of the Youth Council, Brian Ramswell, to discuss them with you and maybe answer some questions. Brian?
Good evening, Council. My name is Briar Ramswell, and I'm the chair of the Destin Youth Council. So today, we just want to talk about our beach cleanup that we are hoping to do in April of this year. Since we started late, we weren't able to do it earlier, but we had a very successful beach cleanup last year, and we were just wanting to do that again. So we want to do it around the first week of April. Just kind of after all the spring breaks are over, just because that's when a lot of the trash is kind of accumulating on the beaches. And we want to be able to put our beaches back and make them look nice and beautiful for the rest of the tourists and for summer coming up. So we really want to get your support on that. We have supplies that's going to be provided, garbage bags, hand sanitizer, gloves, etc. We're looking for volunteers and everything. So we just want your support on that. And then also we want to have your support on a recycling system being put in place at Destin High School and Destin Middle School. The elementary school already has one, but they're looking to make it better and just like have more pickup and everything for it. So I have Stella Scoma that I want to call upon to kind of talk more about the recycling system.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Stella Scoma. Thank you for your time and attention. I recently surveyed around 50 staff members from Destin Elementary, Middle School, and High School and received the following results. 84% of individuals said they believed that a recycling system would be a valuable investment at their school, and 98% stated that they would be in support of the implementation. I also met with Destin High School's lunch coordinator, who is in charge of our school's vendor-provided lunches. She informed me that our high school serves approximately 370 lunches from vendors in plastic, paper, and cardboard containers weekly. If our school had the opportunity to actualize a recycling system, I believe it would be utilized greatly. The overall end goal of this project is to strengthen our community's environmental conscientiousness as well as raise our youth to have respect and care for our planet. Our Youth Council hopes to accomplish this mission with your support.
All right, thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
Councilwoman Naber?
Can your chairwoman come up as well? First of all, thank you both for being here. Thank you for representing our council at the youth level. I don't think anybody up here is going to say anything except absolutely we want you to do a beach cleanup in whichever weekend in April. I'm sure we can work with the city manager. He can help you figure out through the Parks and Recreation what's the best weekend and how to get you all together. And the second, with the recycling, we've had our waste management came to our visioning session talking about we here in Okaloosa County, we do recycle. I don't think that'll be a problem getting a recycling bin of some sort large enough, especially since the high school has that kind of quantity. So I think if we need to ask the city manager to work with you through Ray to make this happen, I don't think that'll be a problem. And I'm pretty sure you're going to find that all of us up here support what you're doing and we appreciate what you're doing. So stand by.
All right, Councilman Bagby.
Okay, Briar, Stella, thank y'all for coming tonight. You see, Michael, raise your hand. He's going to give you the name and number of Doug Rainier, okay, who works for Waste Management.
Doug's awesome.
And you're going to call him tomorrow, and you're going to say, I was told you're going to fix the recycling needs at the high school, or there's going to be a very angry man giving you a call this afternoon, okay? Because I've known him for eons in a multitude of capacities. So Michael will give you his cell phone number. Don't call him tonight because I want him to sleep tonight. But tomorrow sometime, give him a call. And if he doesn't fix it, then you give me a call, okay? And I know Briar's mom has my cell phone number, and if you want it, Stella, I can give that to you too. And we'll get y'all hooked up with recycling tomorrow, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Councilman Guile.
I just want to tell each and one of you, thank you so much for showing up here tonight. Just being present is probably the hardest part of any job, and I truly appreciate your y'all's dedication and being involved in this.
All right, Councilman Schmidt.
Thank you both and to the whole committee, guys, for being here. Mr. King was very shocked that they allow beards in high school nowadays. I told him you can pretty much do anything you want in schools now. It's been a while. 100% support all around in the waste management thing, but just for the record, I'm glad you're here tonight. Have y'all had a chance to go to the Public Works and Safety Committee or the Parks and Rec Committee to present this information?
No.
Okay. So, well, just like the Little League Board as an organization, but there's, you know, in the future, if you ever want to go to another committee to have more input from a bunch of people, that's also a good opportunity to get other input. But I'm all about what you're wanting to do tonight, and I'll support it. I'll be out there. Let me know when the beach cleanup is. I'll be there.
All right, Councilman Bagby.
Yeah, don't worry, y'all don't have to go to the committee because y'all are a committee. Yes, you are a committee, and so it's gone through you, and that's all it needs to go through is a committee.
Isn't politics fun?
Stella had reached out to me last week, and I put her in touch with Lisa first. So they've done a good job connecting all the dots.
Thank you very much.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
Lisa has volunteered to assist with the beach cleanup, with
Okay, well, I'll see you out there, Lisa.
supply and everything else that they need.
Awesome. My last comments to you guys is thank you for leading the charge. In Florida, we're not allowed to make laws on what people can use in the public sector for businesses. So you guys not only are going to be doing this for your school, but I really hope this could be a really good example of our commercial-based businesses in Destin. Florida, we can't make laws for them, so you guys are going to do an awesome job leading by example, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Mayor, may I have a formal motion to move forward with those?
I'd like to make a motion to move forward with both of these requests.
Second.
Motion and a second. Calling the vote. This karma thing.
Thanks, Tammy.
All right. Ayes have it, so moved. Mr. Zanguze.
Thank you, Mayor. Items 4B and 4C are related. They have to do with our paid parking program. The city put out a request for proposals to manage our paid parking facilities. The city received 9 proposals from different vendors. Our Public Works Director is here to give you the results of their review of those vendors' proposals and also outline the next steps for the city.
Yeah, jump in, Councilman Bagby.
Yeah, just a quick question. And I asked Louis this before we got cut off, my fault, during my pre-brief. Why didn't we do 4C before? Because in my mind, it looks like we're changing the rules. You know, now we're going to go do a different calculation method for revenues or whatever. So it would have been good if everybody was on the same sheet, as opposed to now we're going to award it to somebody and, oh, by the way, you got it, but we're going to start changing everything.
I think we did the award first. That way we would be sure there was a contract before we talked about the details for negotiating it. But we see your point also.
Yeah.
Yeah, one other item is I put for the benefit of the public, not public, but the bid committee, kind of a cost comparison based on last year's metrics. So the numbers will basically be the same. It'll be a transaction fee. This typically will be a flat fee. And then there's a percentage typically for like a merchant services fee, and there are other ancillary costs. But, you know, the lower the cost we would have paid, you know, considering if we were operating under the current model where we paid those fees and paid the state taxes and whatnot, that would be a lesser amount we would pass on to the user, all things being equal. We did have a few that had higher flat rates for everything. One of them was actually in the double digits, and we had various vendors, and again, we had 9 submissions, and they were all slightly different. So it was a task to have them scored and pick one. But at the end of the day, the bid committee met, scored the 9 proposals, and at this time we recommend that the city engage Park Mobile for a negotiation for a 3-year contract.
All right, I got Councilman Schmidt.
Just to understand, are we doing 4B right now? Yes. Okay. So, Michael, is it concerning that there was so much variety? Like, does that not make you think that people were confused on what to submit?
It was a request for proposal, so what we were doing is soliciting their full catalog of services without, more like being an RFP where we were specifically asking for specific items, because not all of these 9 vendors offer the same catalog of services. Okay. Where some do, you know, public relations, marketing on our behalf, others didn't. Where others offered like kiosk-based payment solutions, others had, you know, a variety of payment solutions. So to your point, it was tough to select one, but we just kind of use a fishing expression. We just threw the bait out there and we saw what we caught and, you know, evaluated each based on their merits.
So help me understand on our documents. You listed Park Mobile and Passport Labs with some numbers. So is that kind of like a summary of just those 2 vendors of what it's going to cost for the city? Is that what that table means?
So Crystal included that table as a comparison between our existing vendor, which is Passport Labs, and the recommended vendor being Park Mobile, and a cost comparison of the 2. Item 4C, I believe, would be a consideration for council to either absorb the costs of transaction fees and merchant service fees and the state tax, or pass those on to the user when they create a session.
Why do you think Park Mobile has no cost for signage, setup, hosting, call center, like none of that? Is it just That's it's just free? I mean, not free, but it's included in the
It's included in the cost.
$60,000?
Included in the cost. So what they're able to do is they will collect that transaction fee, merchant services fee. I'm sure there's some, profit in there for them, but they, based on our transaction quantities, which they received as part of that process of preparing their bid,
Right. And
that,
so, like,
that,
in-
that information was available to them.
So in comparison to like the gentleman that came up here, premium parking, the cost for his service when y'all did this, because you mentioned some type of sheet. I don't think we have that sheet, right?
Yeah, that was just for the bid committee's
Okay.
use, so we could kind of compare apples and
So like
apples as
for
best we could.
them, you would have been adding up the 14,000, the 73,000, all these one-time fees. Is that kind of how you compared that?
Yeah, so after our initial bid committee meeting, we went back to the vendors with just a simple question. Is based on the 2023 metrics, what would our year one cost be? And they provided, all of them with the exception of one, replied on a timely fashion. And that's what I used to base that comparison on.
Okay. The only other question and comment comes from the actual RFP. I think Lewis might have mentioned it to you, but as I was asking questions the other day in my meeting, is that we've talked a few times in here about trying to figure out a way to do parking enforcement through the smart scans, the cameras, the technologies, and all that stuff. And I saw that in the RFP, it actually says, like 4G, utilize license plate recognition technology for monitoring and enforcement of parking. So is this recommended company going to do that?
Yes, during the negotiation process with them, we'll make sure to include, specifically, I believe, the Martler Street parking lot. It seems to be the best fitted for that type of deployment of equipment. Some of our beach parking, Gulf Shore Drive, along Scenic 98, I just don't think really lends itself to license plate recognition.
I agree.
But Martler Street definitely does. And if we ever do anything more permanent with the Zerby facility, I think that would be a great candidate as well.
And this
But-
contract would come back to us, right? Contract will come back?
Yes, when it's negotiated, yes.
Yeah, so my only caveat, and I just want to make sure we're hopefully on the same page, is I fear that item may be missed from this company, because that's going to be a cost associated, and I don't see it in their bid. I don't see it mentioning any type of that. So I'm worried that when y'all negotiate, that might come up, and if that's the case, I want to make sure that we highlight that when y'all bring it back to us of this cost.
As I recall, Park Mobile has, they don't do enforcement directly, but they do have 30 enforcement extensions or modules that they can deploy for us. They currently operate in, a lot of major cities, and to include Pensacola. I was there not too long ago. No, they're just like any other company. Sometimes you get a out-of-the-box solution, where it's everything in one, and it has its strengths and weaknesses. But it would be a great opportunity to kind of pick their brains for, the most effective parking enforcement solutions that they've deployed. And we'll bring that back to you, absolutely.
All right, Councilwoman Naber?
Thanks, Mayor. I kind of had some of the same questions that Mr. Schmidt had on some of the fees don't look like they were incorporated. And was there something that was specific that this was a two-page submission, like the gentleman that said he only submitted 2 pages, but it looked like they were like books of information that other companies submitted? Was there anything that specified what they needed to provide monetarily or, page-wise for this submission for the bid?
I'll have to pull that up, but most of the submissions that we received, I would say, were at least 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch thick. So they were all pretty beefy. Their ability to elaborate on the features of their systems and their capabilities, that was all there. They had that opportunity.
And then my other question is, why are we doing a 3-year contract? Why don't we go 2 years? Because we've seen these other contracts, sometimes we're not quite happy, and then we're stuck for 3 years. Are we locking in at 3 years, or can we do a 2-year contract? Or like a 1 year, see how they do through the summer? Are we gonna get the enforcement for these people that are parking? Are they getting a ticket? Oh, no, didn't get a ticket. I'm gonna park in that lot again and not pay because nobody ever, caught me. So I'm kind of leery of these 3-year contracts.
Yeah, we were, gosh, as part of our process, starting maybe not too long ago, that we were trying to, traditionally, what we've done is we've created a contract for 1 year, and we've had up to 4 annual renewals. And at those annual renewals, sometimes, the CPI and whatever, we kind of get burnt each time that we renew one of those. But there will always be a termination clause in all of these contracts that we execute
Okay, because this
if we're unhappy with them.
This company that we're looking at, they don't personally, their company isn't set up for them to manage ticketing people that aren't paying. Is that correct?
Through their system, it is. They don't necessarily install the cameras and do all that, but we can certainly work with them to, and the other thing I did mention to Lewis, and this is kind of on a side note, but the sheriff's office has been interested in obtaining camera feeds citywide for, what is that called, Jason?
Our real-time crime center.
Real-time Crime Center. Thank you, sir. And we were, once we start this process with the vendor that you all select, we'll definitely see if that feed, it would be available to the sheriff's office as well for their purposes.
Okay, thank you. I'll be looking forward to that contract coming back for clarification with council.
Okay, I just wanted to throw in, thank you again, before we even had an RFP. Mainly thank you to an extension of the code enforcement. Most of the time when we solve problems, it's because it's an outcry from the citizens. This was an internal need for just a mundane amount of work. So before we even had this opportunity, I really appreciate the time you gave. And honestly, to Councilman Gao's point, I think the biggest thing is showing up, and I was just happened to walk the halls when they were opening the big committee in the first time. I mean, he's definitely saying the truth. He has shown up to everything, and I really appreciate you, sir, being out here tonight, so thank you. Councilman Gao? I'm sorry, Councilman Bagley?
Yeah, so on page 10 of 51 of their brief, they don't list Pensacola, and I know that we had the conversation. I don't want to speak for Mr. Destin, he's not here, but I thought it was him that said he really liked what was going on over in Pensacola, and having had an office over there, I really liked their system that they were using too. But I didn't see them, and I just assumed it was one of the other 9 that was doing Pensacola. So can you confirm that your recommended vendor is doing Pensacola?
Yeah, Andy, if you pull up parkpensacola.com, you'll see that it's Park Mobile.
Okay. And then
They only, and I don't know if our pages line up with what you're referring to.
that's their brief. That's why I said page
Okay.
10 of 51 of their submission. So that way I know it's right in the bottom right-hand corner, and it'll be the same.
Right, I'm looking at page 17, and it lists their large market clients.
Nope, go before that. To like page 10 of 51.
10 of 51.
Yeah.
The document I'm looking at is 103 pages.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Andy, if you could pull that back up, I'm sorry. Yeah, there it is right there. That's City of Pensacola's paid parking site right there. And if you scroll down a little bit, just a little bit more, come on. I'm sorry. But you can do click here for the City of Pensacola. Down, screen.
Maybe the table just hasn't been updated in their packet.
Yeah, there it
Include
is.
Pensacola.
There it is right there, yeah. But yeah, the page I was looking at lists their large market clients.
Okay. It is about page 170. My button is pushed, man. Thank you. Let's see.
Record at this point.
Yeah, no. It's on their brief, on their little green brief, page 10 of 51. So anyway, it is page 183, Florida municipal clients. Okay, at the bottom of the page. So my point being, A, confirm, and so if you've confirmed with the city of Pensacola, that's fine, because we'll see DC Reeves tomorrow at the symposium. And B, that it has the same modules that these folks bid on, because my concern when I hear you say, oh yeah, we can get that module or we can get this module, then all of a sudden their price isn't their price, which was my concern about doing 4C after 4B, because, and I get it, we still have to go negotiate, but I don't want to find out that, oh, you said it's going to cost, $62,000, and when you bring that contract back and it's $85,000, then I'm not going to be as sympathetic as I would be, because then I'm going to make you bring me a spreadsheet, which actually I'd like for you to do when you don't have presentations. Okay, only one of us talking to Michael at a time. Thanks. When you don't bring like 3 presenters, the top 3, and I understand the cost is minimal, but I like to see a spreadsheet, not 700 pages of their bids, which was interesting reading, but a spreadsheet. Here's the 9 companies. Here's their cost of each. Here was the modules that they offer here. Just a simple one page where I can look at it and go, okay, I don't want to check all your work and review the minutes or the video of 3 bid meetings, but I do want to have some, not satisfaction, confidence that, okay, this makes sense, and I see how they got to where they got from all these pages. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
And if I could add one thing, I have asked Park Mobile to be prepared to present to you all on the 18th.
Okay.
To kind of give you an introduction to the company and their service catalog, and meet their point person that will be dealing with us day to day, if you all choose to select them this evening.
No, I'm fine with that personally, but I just want to, I just see escalation too many times because they give us the base and then all of a sudden, well, we asked or we mentioned taking pictures of license plates. Oh, well, we can do that, but that's an extra $20,000. And we had asked for this. Well, we can do that. They can always do, what we want. It's the cost of doing what we want. So I've made my point.
Right. Councilor Schmidt.
Yeah, I don't mean to harp on it, and Michael and Mr. Bagby. On the 2251 page on their presentation, letter G, it says in blue, utilizes license plate recognition technology for monitoring and enforcement of parking operations, including digital chalking and integration with DMV and related platforms. The little checkbox says Park Mobile does not provide a license plate recognition solution. However, we have over 100 active industry integrations and are able to integration with the enforcement and license plate recognition provider of the city's choice. Do you know what that means, or do I need to guess what that means?
I know Tipley Integration.
No, they just have a host of companies they work with, and if we already had a camera provider for some other facility or something, they would be able to blend it.
But we don't have anything right now.
Not right now.
So
No, we're starting from
to,
one.
Are we going to have to provide something, and then they will use that something for us?
That is exactly what we'll be talking to them about. We just needed basically this evening permission to start the conversation.
So I'm in the res tech world also, and I know Tipley Integrations it's usually a separate fee.
Right.
So,
I mean, I just feel a little uncomfortable about this, and I feel like there's a lot missing on it from, honestly, a little confusion, because we're wanting to pick somebody that we're not even really sure what they're gonna do. And we're not going to find out what they're going to do until after y'all negotiate. So I don't know if it's like the normal way of doing the contracts. I just feel like it's missing. So I'm not going to support picking this team tonight. So because I'm missing pieces, and there's, this gentleman's cost is expensive, I guess, but it sounds like it's the cost to do these services. So I'd rather table this for the next meeting to make sure we have the summary, the chart, to allow a better presentation of actual services that are being provided and clear costs, because I don't want to choose a company that I don't know they're going to be doing. So I don't know if y'all want to table it, if staff would like to do that, or if the council wants to, or what y'all want to do.
That's okay, the next meeting.
So
Table it.
I'll table it for the next meeting if y'all want to.
And I'll second that.
All right, then, moving along.
And
Now it's official. We double, I know, I was moving on and then I hit it anyways. All right, we officially tabled and we just voted for fun.
Yes. Table. Good.
All right, Louis.
All right, item 4D is about the recommendation from the Harbor Waterways Board regarding the
My proclamation got stuck up under the laptop. But the city pays a few fees associated with our paid parking program, to include a transaction fee, a merchant services fee, and then the state tax. We were just looking for council's direction on whether or not the city would absorb those costs, or we would pass those costs in whole or in part to the end user.
Okay, with that, Councilman Stevens.
So I'm involved with some res tech, and the industry standard is actually to pass the fees and sales tax to the end user. So I'm in support of option 1. So I don't know if you want me, I'll make a motion of, I move direct city manager to utilize option 1 with the selected contractor during contract negotiations.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Council, you got anything else? Stevens? All right, Councilwoman Lambert?
I was going to make that motion.
All right, Councilman Bagby.
Okay, and when you're negotiating, I like nice round numbers, but I'm just one person. So if the taxes and the fees and everything, if it comes out to $5.61, it's $6, okay? It's like, round, because they're not gonna, know that we get, and then I want that extra 39 cents coming to us.
How about the Park Foundation?
Yeah, or the Park Foundation. Yeah.
Well, don't you have to you actually have to specify
And just to remind everybody, the parking fees all go to the parking fund and have already been committed by council as such. So if you want to change that, we can bring a revised resolution to a future meeting.
There's always some rule messing up my phone.
Yeah, the taxes don't, but
Correct, the
what
taxes
we
go to the
net
state.
goes to us, yeah. So all the other stuff we're collecting here.
Councilman Stevens, do you have anything? Yep.
real quick, if you were to round up, you'd have to actually specify that in there. So that's all.
Yeah, I have the option. All right, seeing no further discussions, call the vote for option 1. Man, I can't wait to get new voters and a new screen. I got you, Andy. All right. Louis.
Item 4D is a recommendation from the Harbor Waterways Board regarding the need for the city to develop a standardized fuel and pollutant abatement plan. Principal planner is here to give you details of that plan.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. You have before you a request to use the attached fuel and pollutant abatement plan from the Harbor and Waterways Board. Luckily enough, tonight we have Councilman Stevens, who was on the board when they made this recommendation, and he was also the principal lead on this entire effort. So very knowledgeable if there's any questions he can also step in. So this all started back in February of last year. I know your staff report says 2024, but it's actually 2023. A little zealous with that 4 sometimes. So they hosted the local Coast Guard unit to explain how they track what they facilitate with fuel spills and abatement plans. They classify in 2 realms. There's the 10,000 gallon or more facility, and then the 10,000 gallon or less facility. So from that, the Harbor Waterways Board recommended that staff take a look at the 10,000 gallons or less, because we do not have any facilities that have anywhere near that capacity, and then kind of essentially destinize it and standardize it. So staff brought that draft back, that fuel and abatement pollution plan, and worked with the board to kind of finalize it, tweak it, and get it to what you see before you. As part of this, there will be a need to implement a little bit of education, as this will be a big change, a drastic change from what we require currently. If you look at your attachments, it's current fuel plan number 1, I believe, is what we currently require. And then the second plan that we have that's in your report is an example of another plan that we receive. Both are drastically different and provide no standardized information. So the implementation plan that staff's recommending or that the Harbor and Waterways Board recommended is that to get the ball rolling, start with the annual livery registrations, not this year, but starting in 2025, as we've already passed the livery registration education piece, so we can work on that through this summer. And then, so that's one situation. The second situation, if adopted, would be to have any non-residential multifamily commercial dock, when they come through for a new facility, a modification or change to what they currently have, then we would require this as well. With the whole intent to get every single marina in Destin a standardized plan that has all the information that is needed for us to understand, but more importantly for each user and each operator to actually know what their contingency plan is in the event of a spill. Because it does require education of all the employees of every entity, and it also requires that they notarize this and attest to that actually happened. So it's a win-win in that we get a single standardized document that has to be filled out, has to be submitted in one of those 2 situations, and then there's a single point where anyone, even outside the city, can get information on what the contingency plan is in the event of a spill. It also, there is numbers on there for the appropriate agencies to call in the event of a spill, state, federal, and local. So this particular piece or request implements several comprehensive plan policies and goals. Policy 4142, 41413, 51.5, 5159, 611, and 612. And it also hits your strategic goal or strategic plan, enhance quality of life and safety, effective, efficient, aesthetically pleasing infrastructure, and a green and sustainable environment. So with that, the Harbor and Waterways Board recommends adoption of this fuel and pollutant abatement plan.
All right, Councilwoman Aber.
I move City Council adopt the fuel and pollutant abatement plan and the implementation plan as presented.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second? Second. Got a motion and a second. Starting the discussion, starting with Councilman Stevens.
All right, so I'm actually real excited about this one because I've been working on this for a while, and for it to actually get here,
I could
it's kinda
feel your
cool.
energy down there.
Right. I feel it's close. My initial suggestion was I want to adopt it for all commercial properties, to where it will ultimately fall on the property owner, and the property owner kind of requires their tenants to supply all the equipment or the information. I'd actually like to offer a substitute motion, if I may. A substitute motion is going to be, I move City Council to adopt the fuel and pollutant abatement plan with these modifications. One, require livery facilities starting in 2025 season, sending livery and property owner notifications in September 2024 of the new changes. And then two, I'd like to have it to where all current and future commercial and multi-use or multi-residential marine facilities, excluding single residentials, to voluntarily fall into compliance in 2025, and then require them by 2026 to meet the standards.
I'll second that substitute motion.
All right, Councilman Bagby?
Yeah, I guess a couple of things, and you were involved with it, John and Stephen. Unless it was a typo, and there were obviously at least one typo, was it approved by the board in August of 2023?
That is correct. It was recommended for adoption in 2023.
So now it's March. So we're going to lose the entire 2024 season, and I'm just trying to figure out why. What did we do between August, when they approved it, and March 4th, or whatever the day is?
Certainly, yeah. So the adoption or the recommended motion to adopt this in August came right around the time that code enforcement was having high turnover. Troy had just gotten on, and staff in community development did not have enough time to get code enforcement or code compliance staff up to speed on this in time to get it out properly. So it was educational on internally here with city staff, and then we're here now.
Okay. I'm not sure I like that answer, but that is the answer. Is there any way that, we're not going to get it done by spring break, obviously.
Correct.
Is there any way that we can do the training between spring break and the summer season, like the first week of May or whatever? There's a couple of different components, and we may not be able to get the whole thing, obviously. But if we get the livery vessels and some of the bigger commercials and get them together and say, here's the standard, I just think March 4th, saying, hey, you got basically till next March 4th or next March 15th to get all that's too much time if we really want to fix the problem. And I think we all want to fix the problem. So I guess I'm asking, is there a solution, a partial solution that we can capture some of it this year and then make everybody compliant to the motion, instead of everybody in 2026, everybody in 2025? I just, do you understand what I'm asking?
Oh, absolutely, sir. I don't see a problem with any of that. I think staff would be able to and educate livery operators and other larger marine. It's not like we have 1,000 of these things in this city. So it shouldn't be too difficult to at least get the word out and have some voluntary compliance over the summer. Obviously, the voluntary compliance is on the operator, but I don't see a problem with staff doing the education piece between spring break and the main summer season.
Okay, and I would defer to the maker of the motion and the second, particularly your experience in the delivery area. I have lots of experience with beach vendors, but none with, other than here, with livery, and getting them all together for a meeting. And we ought to, and I would just say if we can do that, we ought to go over and above, because in my mind, we should have done this last November, you know? And so if we have to print more paper or do more effort because of the 7-month gap, which is on us, then we should do that to solve the problem this year. I just don't want to see this can kicked for 12 more months, basically. So you obviously want to talk about it.
I'll say, I mean, I had to hire an engineer to draw mine up, so I mean, that's definitely a process that's involved with it. I know some of them, what if you can incentivize some of these livery guys, say, hey, turn it in early, maybe give them a discount on their application fee, I don't know, just throwing something out there. But the process takes a while to get drawn up, so. And I mean, a lot of the stuff, of course you have to order all the equipment too. I mean, getting all that boom, and knowing how many feet you need to go around your largest vessel. I mean, so I mean, there's some steps that they gotta do ahead of time. I mean, if you get out early, send it out to them this week and just say, hey, can you all start working on it? And maybe someone might do it ahead of time. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, I would ask Tamara and the staff, if we do the notification, you know, the save the date card, oh, by the way, May 1st or whatever, that's probably a Sunday, but, you know, May 1st, we're going to get together with all the livery vessels. Here's what we're going to talk to you about. You're going to have to order this. Here's the plan. Here, it was approved by the council. It was approved by Harbor and Waterways last August. So hopefully some of them are already aware of what the city's been working on, and we're going to ask that to the best of your ability. You have that ready by Memorial Day. Some of them won't, you know, and maybe the incentive is if you've got it on order, if you got the booms on, you know, you got some of the equipment on order and you can show the invoice or whatever, then we're not going to fine you. We're not going to say you're not in compliance because you've done, you know, what we've asked you to do.
But currently, the fuel plan doesn't require any of this, so they wouldn't get fined if they didn't turn this in.
If we make it where it is effective Memorial Day of this year, then they would be fined under the new plan. And so what we would do is say we won't fine you as long as you have it on order. And so that's the incentive. I don't know. When I read that it passed August 23rd, I was just like, well, I won't say what I said, but I was like, what the heck is going on here?
John, I could be wrong, and John, you can speak up if I'm wrong on this, but I don't care if it's liveries, any business. I think for a seasonal business that's kicking off, whether it's a restaurant or anything, it'd be like going to a restaurant and telling them you got, 3 months to do something or you're gonna be fine. I don't think that's fair right now with their season getting started, no matter what industry it was. So I don't want to go that steep. And they just had a meeting recently, so I don't think having another meeting is something that would be an option right now. So let's just try to make it happen the best we can right now.
I agree.
All right, Ray, correct me if I'm wrong, the substitute requires the 25, September 24th. Why don't you just read it down for me? I was trying to take notes with you, go ahead. Yeah, Ree, what's the sub, or
Can I ask
Stevens?
Mr. Stevens
Yeah,
to read
Stevens, I'm sure you got it
the two
written down.
modifications
All right.
again?
Okay, the two modifications. Modification 1, require livery facilities starting in for 2025 season, sending livery and property owner notifications in September of 2024 of the new changes. And then modification 2, all current and future commercial and multi-residential marine facilities, excluding single residential, voluntarily in 2025, then required by 2026, sending property owner notifications in September 2024 of new changes.
Okay. All right, calling the vote. All right, ayes have it. Aye, hey. All right, Lewis.
We got an informational item for you about draft minutes from the clerk's office. One announcement from me, and then the rest will come from Tamara. First of all, she put that on. Yeah. I want to take again the opportunity to thank the City Council for the visioning session. Appreciate your passion and your dedication to the boundless opportunities that we have in the city. And so staff and I got together and compiled to the best of our abilities what we heard. And I've provided you a sheet there listing the issues that we thought we gathered from you all. The issue for me tonight is simply to ask you if there's anything that we've missed, to let us know before you finalize this list to come back for your action. If there are any questions, I'll take them now.
Can we just get back to you on the Lewis this
Certainly.
week?
Yeah. Tamara, any announcements for us?
Yeah, good evening. We have 3 announcements. The first is that early voting for the presidential preference primary will start on March 9th at the Destin Community Center, and it'll run from March 9th through the 16th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day, and that does include the Sunday. So early voting will occur on that Sunday as well. Also, on March 14th, we'll be hosting Destin Forward's class for the City Day. So thanks to all of you for signing up for a slot to talk to the class members. And please do make sure to get me, if you have a particular item for your slide deck for your PowerPoint presentation, just get that to me and I'll do a compilation. And then last, I get my laptop up here. We have from Steve O'Connor, I'm going to talk really slow while it comes up. We have, so the city's land development, the rewrite project, the LDC rewrite project continues to progress. And we have Articles 1 through 5 published and just recently uploaded the draft of Article 6, which is the general development regulations. This article intends to provide a centralized location for regulations regarding the minimum requirements for all development and the supporting facilities such as access, parking, utilities, streets, etc. And the drafts and comment form is available on the city's website, and everybody's obviously welcome to check that out. Thank you.
That's all I have for you, Mayor.
All right, thanks so much. All right, seeing no public hearings, moving on to Councilmember Stevens.
I have nothing.
Councilman Guile.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have a couple things. One, I was assigned as a legislative sponsor for the Compass program that we're working with. I am meeting with Andy and a group tomorrow, 4 p.m., so that we can discuss that and at least give input from an outside perspective as a contractor. Something else, during the strategic visioning session, there was a gentleman that spoke on behalf of Destin High School. Since then, I've been contacted by several people whose kids are in the actual baseball program, and I believe that there's some misinformation being presented to some of these parents from the school. I would respectfully request to be the legislative sponsor for the Destin High School in regards to their recreational area for their sports and relating to the parks, including Morgan Sports Complex.
Want a motion for him?
Yeah.
Motion? All right, do I hear a second for the motion?
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussions? Seeing none? Almost there. Voting. There we go, ayes have it.
Thank you all very much. That's all I have.
All right, Councilman Bagby.
Nothing. tonight, Mayor.
Okay, Councilwoman Aber.
Thanks, Mayor. I just want everybody to know that Tamara had a wonderful birthday on Saturday, and she worked all the way up until the last second and then took her birthday. And I just want to make sure everyone realizes that she didn't miss a beat. She got so much stuff done and then finally took a moment for her celebration with her family and friends. And we appreciate all you do. So happy belated birthday.
Thank you so much.
All right, Councilman King.
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Councilman Schmidt.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. A few things. There was a lot of talk in recent meetings and the vision session, or maybe last meeting as well, about getting people to attend these meetings and to participate. And so I was wanting to see how can we have, or can we be presented in the next month or two, a plan from either Tamra or somebody of what is the city of Destin going to do to publicize differently than we have to have better engagement in our city council meetings. We might already have that answer. If we do, great, but can we get that brought to us in either April or May?
Sure, we'll take a look at it.
Cool. That'd be great. You know, I know we all have our opinions, and we can freely say what we want to say up here and do that. Sometimes I feel like, though, that we are trying to prove a point that it's only my way, and that's the way to do it. I think it was a little disrespectful to the lady that was here presenting on behalf of a partner with the city to share information, and then the ask of what they are wanting to do with the city, to tell her basically, you need to go to the other committees, go join a committee, go do this, go do that. I just think that that tone that we take with some presenters sometimes is a little harsh. And I'm sure you'll have a response to that, and that's perfectly fine. But I will say, and for those of you that are up here, you probably know, I am a member of the Destin Little League Board. I am. It's a volunteer organization. I know there's some people probably on staff and up here that might have an issue with that. And I believe the attorney has looked into it already, and they're going to continue to look at it, because this isn't the end of the Destin Little League Board coming to have discussions with the city council. That particular lease is so outdated. Unfortunately, we have, in my opinion, leadership that should have been updating that previously, and it wasn't. There's probably people up here that have not been to that park within this last year, maybe more than that. It's okay, you don't have to. That's why we have a Parks and Recreation Committee, I guess, that's supposed to go and inspect those parks. That Little League organization is ready to partner with the city to contribute over $100,000 to help upgrade that park for the city of Destin that they don't even own. So there's things that we have talked about up here for a while now. For example, a fee schedule for Parks and Recreation. We're waiting for a fee schedule for nearly over a year now. That was an item on the vision that we talked about again. I would like to see the fee schedule be brought here very soon. I don't know if we need to make a motion, because we've already made the motion. So I want to see it. I want to see it in the next 2 months, please. We have the park plan. We asked for a plan for Morgan's and for Threadgill. Not just Threadgill, Morgan's and Threadgill. So this board, we are now trying to assist in that. They want to work with the city to help engage that and make it happen and do something that hasn't been done over there in a long time. And there is a process, but telling somebody the process is this and this and this is wrong. And I would ask that, I hope that we have a little bit more respect for people when they come up here in the future. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'll gladly. I don't think I was disrespectful. I think I was trying to educate her. Because, you know, actually, I learned it in my first term. You'll have people in this city come up and think, well, I talked to a city council member and they're going to solve my problem. They're going to get in a speed hump or a speed table or whatever we call it, or they're going to get me a stop sign, or they're going to, because I talked to a city council member. And one of the things is when you cut out the staff and when you cut out the committees, you don't have the type of governance. It doesn't matter. Really doesn't. You cut out the type of governance that we are trying to establish, which is a community. And I think everybody understands we're trying to build a community. So I was just letting her know we've got $200,000 in the budget just for that issue, and it's not just Threadgill. Yes, it's Morgan Sports Park. And the people that are going to start that are, you know, besides Lisa, are the Parks and Recs Committee, because they see all the parks and they see the bigger picture, not just, you know, her interest. And I wasn't going to say anything about you being on the on the Little League thing. I was surprised that you voted on it, because are you the president? I think you're the president, or I know you're on the board. You know, I would have said I have a specific interest in this issue, and I probably would have accused myself, but no, I'm just saying what I would have done. Well, it's not just the attorney. Yeah, it's not just the attorney, Kevin. We each have an individual responsibility, because the attorney is just an advisor. And she can say, I don't see a problem with it, or I do see a problem with it, but the person who's responsible is the individual council member. That's another emo thing that, you know, you learn. But I would just say, yeah. No, I would just say, I just explained to her what the process was, how much money there was. We are in the process of looking at it. I talked to Lisa today about looking at it. So, you know, but to build a community, we need those committees, we need the staff, we need the council members, we need the citizens all working together, going the same direction. And a lot of the citizens don't understand, you know, well, I talked to so-and-so and they're going to fix it. I talked to so-and-so on the council and they're going to fix it. It's not that easy. It shouldn't be, because most of the bad decisions we've made in the 12 years I've been doing this is when somebody went directly to a council member and the council member promised them, I'm going to fix that for you. And then we realized everybody else in the neighborhood didn't want that except that very vocal member. So that's all I would say. Thanks.
Councilman Gao.
I think this is something we see here on a regular basis, and I'm trying to be as respectful as possible. And I don't think it's exactly what you say in a lot of situations, it's how you say it. And I've had several conversations with staff on this as well, and the way you present yourself, it comes off very condescending and demeaning in a lot of situations, and I feel that might be what's giving that impression. I think your intentions are good, but I just think you come off very brash, very abrasive, and in some kinds condescending, which is demeaning to the other person, including staff in some cases. So I see exactly what Kevin's saying, but hopefully this isn't something that creates a wedge. We can all grow from this, move from this, and improve.
Well said. All right, so I got an ask. Presidential election's coming up, and I would love to see the referendum of annexation. It seemed that we had a pretty good quorum at the visioning session, and that will take staff and city attorney to draft some documents. So my request as a motion for one of you guys, if you see it fit, is to just direct the city manager and the city attorney to gain the documentation for the referendum and any financial, legal, or any other, I guess, high-level information we might need to know about before we bring other people into the city if they so choose.
I'll make that motion what the mayor just asked.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, any discussions on that? Councilman Bagby?
Yeah, and I think I asked this at the visioning session, and I can't remember, but we need to survey the different segments of the unincorporated area that we're going to annex. And the reason is if we find that there's a neighborhood where they're 100% against it, that we don't bring them in on the annexation vote. We just do the other neighborhoods or the other streets or the other whatever. When we did, the last time we did something similar to this was we did a blue ribbon panel on the municipal resort tax. And that was in like 2005. If Dewey were here, he'd probably remember. May have been 2004. Where we convinced, because our state representative told the mayor at the time, allegedly, at the time that if he got the municipal resort tax passed, which was a tax on us, but really on the tourists within this community, then he would take it to the legislature and provide, because it's provided for in the statute, but so he wanted to do a referendum. So we did a referendum, and it passed, I think, with like 86 or 84%, which is hard in this, ruby red city to get people to vote for a tax on themselves. But they did because they understood the tourists would pay most of it. And then our state representative pulled the rug out because he didn't think probably that the mayor would get it passed. And so we might want to look at having a committee or a group kind of shepherd that for us and say, go out, because you got to go out and I know you're willing to do it and I'm willing to go knock on doors, but you got to have somebody out there pitching the benefits of this every day. And they go to the Rotary Club and they go to the Lions Club and they go to the Crusty Warriors and they go to everybody in, yeah. So, and you get more people out there, which is the whole purpose of committees, is it's not one person knocking on doors. You got 7 people out there who are committed to getting this passed. And just think about that, because what I would hate to do is for us to get this, because I think we're only going to get one shot at this.
Yeah, we got 4 years. If it fails, we got 4 years until
Yeah.
we have to do it again,
Yeah.
if we wanted to. Yep.
Mayor?
My only concern after reading the state statutes is we cannot use public dollars to promote it. So the committee would probably be our best bet if we wanted to go that route. My concern is that, just as you were stating earlier, we have some very vocal people who have their perspective, right or wrong, and as long as we can get a fair and balanced panel, because I know with 1,100 voters in Kelly Plantation, I know there's one loud president who is against it, and he has his right to do so. But I'm afraid that, like you said, one person vocally might not be the majority of the people who are going about their lives not even knowing there's a YouTube of us to check out these videos. So that's just my concern on that, but I agree with getting a group together. So any other discussions on that?
Mayor,
Yeah.
if I may add something.
Please.
I spoke with the supervisor of elections today, knowing that you're going to bring this up. The referendum language for the November election is due in June.
And the language
that's
is
normally
very
done
specific in
in
state
a ordinance
statute.
format.
We wouldn't have to be voting on any language. They provide a sentence with 2 blanks, and it's city and location. But as far as buy-in and making sure we have, public appeal and that we're not ostracizing everyone, I agree with that. Councilman King?
How does that work exactly? And maybe I missed something. I don't think I did. But how does that work exactly if we do make a referendum to do so? Would that referendum just exclude certain neighborhoods and streets? And I mean that'd be a long referendum if we had to list every neighborhood and street.
No, I think it would go under unincorporated Destin, and if we were going after everyone, which I would highly recommend, that those people, almost like a geofence, those people at the bottom of their list, they would get it because the ballot sheet knows that they live here and it's only for them to vote on. And it's 50% plus one is what it takes to join the city and all of them to join in. If anyone else has anything, but.
So, let's say Indian Bayou, for example. I realize Indian Bayou is in the city of Destin, but if it were not, so when they voted, being based on where they vote and where they live,
Yep.
we would need 51% to annex Indian Bayou into Destin.
If that was the only one on the ballot, yes. It's the entire pie that we're going to go after. Yeah, that pie, that whole entire color sheet, all of them now get it. I'm a NPA, I'm a non-party affiliate, so at this primary, if I went to vote, they'd be like, well, you don't have anything to vote on. We see your records, your ballot's nothing for a Republican or Democratic primary. So that's the gist in my head of how that works. But yeah, if we identify the area and every voter that shows up that day to vote inside that area, they would have that special referendum. If 50% plus one say yes, it comes back to us, we adopt it, and the county blesses it. Yeah, so it's not individual neighborhoods. If it were to fail, I would go back and collect signatures, and we need 100% of every individual not to create another enclave outside of it. So we'd have to literally go west to east, because we couldn't go and grab someone on the far east side of town without grabbing everyone in between, because we can't make these little islands. So that's the only caveat if we wanted to go individual. Yeah. All right, did I get that?
They're enclaves, but I like the word islands.
Islands as well, yeah. Okay.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Connect them. All right, ready?
All right, cool. We'll call the vote. Thank you so much. Ayes have it unanimously. So moved. All right, city attorney.
Okay, so I have one, maybe not such a quick thing, but I want to give you an update on the beach acquisitions since the meeting where you asked me to keep talking to both of the option property owners. So there's a map up that might help the public see what we're talking about, but you also have one at your seats. One of the things we were talking about is whether we still want to purchase the White House property. At the time this map was prepared by our illustrious city engineer, the offer or the asking price from the property owner there was at 6.7 million. He's come down to 6.6. I did ask for their final offer, but he has kind of refused to go lower unless council wants to counter offer somewhere. So that's around 6.6 right now. The other situation we discussed was a potential swap of the properties that are hatched on the picture. So the one we own says city property with an arrow and it's hatched in pink. And then the one that we could swap it for is not pink, but it's also hatched. So if we wanted to swap those two, Mr. Knowles has come up from a $50,000 cash price with the swap to now $100,000. If you recall, the appraisal was about $500,000 apart. So we would get the property with $100,000 under the current offer from Mr. Knowles, and he did say that was their final ask of us. They would not go higher than $100,000. So if you want me to do anything further, let me know. Otherwise, okay.
All right, Councilman King.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I would personally, just in looking at this, I would personally like to I would like to pursue the property swap. Just based on, and I would like to see the numbers, and we talked about this earlier, Kim, but I want to see the numbers of what all we have in it, what it would cost to tear down the White House, but just from the numbers that I've put together, it makes absolutely no sense to pursue that. I would prefer to pursue the property swap, and especially if there's a potential to buy the property on the west side of that property. So that's where I'm going with it.
Councilman Schmidt?
Yeah, has anybody talked about, we know if they would sell that
Yeah.
property?
So actually, our
Never
finance
follow up.
director has
Yeah.
some thoughts on that. Do you want to talk about what we talked about, where we purchase one and sell one for the same and we break even?
Yeah, so that's another option. If we were to sell our property and purchase the other property outright, it would result in some net revenue for the city that we could apply back into the park.
Has any talks with the owner of that swap property?
If council, not yet, because
Okay.
we didn't have direction on
That's
that, but
fine.
we can,
That's
if
fine.
council is interested in that potential.
So I'll make a motion to, engage with that property owner with the option to purchase his property, as well as selling our property in order to do that, and to stop engaging with the White House property.
Okay, and then just for clarity, would I be talking about both options then, the one Mr. King said and your option, or just focusing on the purchase and sale? Like, would I still be able to talk about the swap and that option and see which one?
I think a swap is okay, but I think financially, it's disadvantage. It's a disadvantage to the city to just swap because of just the values of those properties. So, I mean, sure, it's okay, but I would prefer to try to sell and buy and, make it a better deal for us. And then we potentially one day have the blue option. But, I mean, I think you're open to have all that talk, really, but. Sure.
I think I would be curious to hear what Mr. Knowles has to say. And it is for sure, I think personally from a real estate perspective, that it is advantageous for him, and obviously with the $100,000. I think it's more advantageous for them to do that than it is for us. I don't know, I'd be curious to see if they would go for that. Obviously, I think that's a better option, but I'd be curious to see what they have to say.
All right, Councilman Stevens?
Yeah, thank you. I was curious if maybe we can approach the county on the White House and see if maybe we can ask them if they would be interested in paying for the amount up front, and then later the city agrees to tear it down, build, and all the amenities up there. I mean, does it hurt to ask? And then if the county says no, then we choose one of these options that you guys brought up.
Councilwoman Aber?
I agree with what Mr. Schmidt and Mr. King were saying about finding out what the chances are, basically, and negotiating all of that, like going back to those two and find out. I'd also be in agreement with, just asking the question of the county. Doesn't hurt anything.
They're going to strangle us. Councilman Bagby?
Yeah, I'm in favor of no on the White House and no on the property swap at 100,000, and just developing what we have and seeing if they want to change their tune, because our conversations with Mr. Knowles, $100,000, and Crystal, correct me if I'm wrong, but your assumption is we would sell our parcel, our orphan parcel, for the appraised value, and then they would sell their parcel for the appraised value, our appraisals. And that's how we could set. That's probably not going to happen, because if that was going to happen, he would jump at the $250,000, and, he would get a bigger parcel. He would get one worth $500,000 more, and he got it for $250,000. So he's probably not going to agree if we can even get the appraised value on our orphan parcel to sell us, because he's going to say, look, I got a comp, and y'all just sold that, and it's only worth about $100,000 more than my parcel. I told you that already. And we'll say, yeah, well, we think you were wrong, what you told us before, and we offered to swap. So at some point, we just have to say, okay, we just are where we are, and we'll see where we are in 3 or 4 years. To Mr. Stevens' recommendation, I'm sure the county, we could probably convince them to do that, but they would be taking our 50% of that, so 3.3 million, out of our TDC share, which means instead of for the next 5 years or whatever we're paying them for the parcels we've already bought, we're just kind of mortgaging our future for another 4 or 5 years to pay. It's kind of like draft picks, in the NFL. We're going to trade you. If you give us this person right now who may get injured on the first play, we're going to trade you our 3 number 1 draft picks for the next 5 years, or our 5 number 1 draft picks for the next 5 years. And I'm not sure that deal works out. I mean, I'm okay with spending, 30 more days going, let's go talk to Mr. Knowles, let's go talk to the county. But at some point, that, especially that orphan parcel, that thing is the saddest looking piece of property in the city, one of the saddest looking pieces of property in the city of Destin, and we ought to be getting some use for it. We ought to open it up and maybe put in some parking and some other things. But at some point, we've got to just go with what we've got. And if Mr. Knowles won't come off $100,000, no, not on a property valued at $500,000 more. I'm sorry, I would never vote for that. That's just giving him a gift. And the White House, that we've been dealing with that guy for years, not months, years. And he's very proud of that property. And I think he'll have a different opinion if we put about 500 people down there, this summer, about the value of his property, because that is public beach in front of that house up to the erosion control line. But, if we want to take a month, confirm what I think we already know, that's fine. But at some point this spring, let's just fish. Stop cutting bait and fish.
All right, Councilman Guile.
I'm pretty much against all of it. I think we should sell those 3 properties and buy the 7.2 acres where the old Holiday Inn used to be and let that be a local beach myself. But since we're not looking at that, and we're considering developing Crystal Beach for the smallest population of the Destin residents, I wouldn't be in favor of a swap right now, or I would have to agree with Councilman Bagby to wait it out and see what we can figure out there. But again, if we want to reconsider and look at actually buying a beach for the citizens of Destin, it's right behind Bank of America.
Councilman Schmidt.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I'm giving Kim what you want. I don't even really remember what my motion was, but do you want a backup option tonight, like with this first option, or you just want to take this right now?
Honestly, I just want to figure out where council really wants to go. I think there's a lot of different opinions, and I'm just trying to figure out which road to go down. I think I'm clear at this point that
We want to see if you'll sell it.
we're the most interested in this swap parcel right now, and that you all want to see what that potential purchase price would look like, and if they might change their tune on the 100,000, although they've said they won't. I'll go down that path. I'm
If
just
that
going to
doesn't-
tell the White House that you're more interested in the swap, and if he comes back with a number when he hears that, I'll bring it to you. If he doesn't, then we'll proceed with the swap or nothing.
Right, and I think that's what the motion was, so if not, let me know. But yeah, because if Mr. Knowles says, no, I'm not going to sell it, or no, I'm not going to increase more than 100,000, then I guess when you come back to us and tell us that, we'll give you the next thing, which for me, the next thing would be to sell the orphan child, or whatever you called it. So, but if you only want one, I'm good with my original motion.
All right, Councilman King.
Yeah, thanks. I see what you're saying, Mr. Bagby. It never feels good to It never feels good to feel like you lost to somebody. You know, I think at a certain point, and I'm not saying that this is what it is, but I think at some point you got to put, not you in particular, but I know that I feel like I have to put my ego away a lot of times when there is something on the table that is wildly more advantageous for the city of Destin. It sucks. It's not ideal, but it's not the biggest loss I've seen us take since I've been here. You know, you know. So, and I'm not saying that that's an ego thing. I think that that's just in human nature. This is something that we deal with. I see it all the time, and I know you do too. But yeah, I would definitely be in favor of abandoning the White House and moving on the swap.
Kim, my question, Kim, are we allowed to purchase their beachfront rights and him keeping the property? Is that even a possibility? I think we talked about it up here at one point, but if the White House keeps his house, is there an ability to buy his beach property as far as if we have this island? Is there a way to just, if he's going to make this a rental forever, then would he just
I
not
mean,
kick-
if you had a beach rental,
I
would you
get-
sell
okay.
the beach part?
Fair enough. I figured it was a dumb question,
No,
but
no,
I
mean,
just
we
wanted
can
to.
always
No,
ask.
you got plenty of other options. That's not my option. I was just kind of curious. Okay. All right. So I do have the motion. Everyone good with Kevin's motion? All right.
Can you reread it, please, just so I'm up to date?
Yep. Ray, do you have it, or Kevin?
It was basically to get a purchase price for Peter Knoll's property. But,
Okay.
I mean,
And to not deal with the White House.
and to not deal with the White House.
Yep. Yep.
So it's just talking only, that's all we're doing, right?
Yep. Yeah, everything.
Check. Yep.
All right, call the vote.
Who said 8:30? I said 8:15.
I know, you're almost there. I know. All right, there you go. Ayes have it, so moved. All right. So with that, anything else, Kim?
No, that's all. Thank you.
All right, public comments. Anyone here? Last bite at the apple. All right.
Just one comment. We would welcome the opportunity. Every operator and every respondent to the parking was different, and parking's complicated. We would just welcome the opportunity to kind of show what we had compared to the rest as a reflection of what the RFP requested. We appreciate that.
All right, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right. Public comments? Y'all know the book already. My last little thing is we did Pop Tops against Fort Walton Beach. Y'all were 0 for 2 against Fort Walton, but that's okay. But the good news is they were at 50, my numbers might be a pound off, they had 59 pounds of Pop Tops. We had 53 pounds. So over 100 pounds of those little top cans. Exactly. Oh, see, there it is. We would have won. All that's being said, that equals to, I think, over 120,000 Pop Tops in 1 month for 2 cities. So thank you, everyone who participated in any way, 1 or 100. They all added up. So there you go. Power of community. All right, meeting adjourned.